We have 3-dimensional scanners. So again, we can see you, you know.
You do not see me.
Are you high?
I wish. Just relax, Halo Eyes, alright? We're only halfway through the season. We all know I'm getting out of this. Computer. Initiate an infinite loop of Picard maneuvers at short random jumps. Need some time to figure this out. And while I do, I present to no one the next episode. 1100-1001.
He's like an annoying fly.
We start with the ship pulling up to Starbase 74. The shot is held for a long time and looks way better than most visual effects we've seen so far. It also looks exactly like this older footage I found from when some guy named Spock went missing or something. The captain drops his log, saying they're docking at the base orbiting Tarsus 3 for general maintenance and repairs. His biggest concern is the holodeck update, so nothing major. Whatever happened to the dudes in dresses? Did we abandon that already? They're greeted by Commander Quinteros, some Fed drones, and some odd little gray men called Binars. Their most definitive characteristics are that they are all female, paired off as per their name, they finish each other's sentences, and they're interconnected with a master computer on their home planet Binus. As after birth, a surgeon removes the child's parietal lobe and replaces it with a synaptic processor, and they think in binary. What the fuck? Also, to continue pushing the binary theme, they have binary numerical assignments as names. They seem the perfect species to overhaul ship computers, but they're acting sus as fuck, and Riker notices it for once. But whatever, have the kid watch them. Riker runs into Yar, Worf, Terry Hatcher, and the dad from Seventh Heaven on the decks. Rollerball called. It wants its outfits back. She says they're off to play some sports game called Parisi Squares. Worf will dominate the Starbase team for the pride of the ship. Riker says it's about having fun, but Worf says then why keep score? He's got a point. Rip their heads off, Worf. Cushy Starbase sissies. Even though the ship is here for routine maintenance, Picard has been adamant that the ship has been in perfect order, but now the power seems to drain. The computer says the power is being allocated to the upgrade, but again, it doesn't sit right with Riker. Next on his tour, he finds Data attempting to be creative, painting with some instruction from Geordi. Riker laughs to take notes for scholars, a blind man teaching an android to paint. Riker then wanders into sickbay, wondering now what the doctor is up to, which isn't much. Riker stops spending his time seeing how others are spending their time and goes to the Binars asking about the power drain. They say it's fine now and ask him to try the enhancements to the holodeck, which he does by going to a Bourbon Street bar in the 50s and creating a woman in a red dress. He says that enhancement is an understatement, but I don't understand what's different about the holodeck. Maybe it's the Double D DLC pack. Riker then starts macking on the Holosloot, who calls herself Minuet, and with him properly distracted, the Binars sneak out. Some other stuff is happening on the ship, but it's all of little consequence. The Binar plot is thin, and most of the episode's focus is going to be about Riker and Holo Hooker here. Holy shit, Riker plays the trombone? It's not a trumpet, but he's still saying, "Look what this mouth do, girl." And her projected loins are stirred. Digital sploosh. They dance, they talk, and the audience gets a huge chunk of Riker's personality. But honestly, it's just verbal reinforcement of his obvious behavioral habits. We know he's a horn dog who likes jazz and burying himself in work. Picard intrudes and Moulin Rouge introduces herself in French to the captain, which delights him to speak terribly in his native tongue. And I know I'm just now getting to this, but why does he have an English accent? Meanwhile, Wes hits up Data to inform him the magnetic containment that holds the antimatter is acting up. And holy shit, that's a big emergency unless y'all want to give Talos 3 the biggest fireworks show they've ever seen. Data and Geordi check it out in engineering and find the field deteriorating with 4 minutes on the ticking clock till boom time. Whatever the Binars are doing isn't normal. Data tells Wes to alert the starbase and start evacuations. Data wants to evacuate 1,000 people with kids in 4 minutes off this ship and still get it away from the starbase. Yeah, good luck, homie. I can't even get my kids' shoes on in 4 minutes.
Are you just going to do that indefinitely?
That depends. Are you able to stop me?
No.
Then yes. Till I figure out how to operate this thought orb at least.
When we come back, we see people beaming off the ship, and take your time doing that, boys. I'd be screaming, "Next! Run!" and smashing that button like a Mario speedrunner. Data asks the computer where Picard is, and the computer doesn't answer, but says, "Holodeck's empty." They don't even question this odd response, or that the captain wasn't last off the ship. Instead, just go to leave with 40 seconds left. With the ship empty, the crew realize Picard and Riker are still aboard. The mag field is regenerating, and the ship is clearing itself of the starbase. Really feels like the Binars just tricked y'all into giving them a ship right now. Oh, look at that, it's warping away. Man, the lot of y'all are not bright sometimes. My first instinct was to go see what the Binars were doing and have them stop it. But you guys just moved where they pushed you and never thought about it. Thank God for Riker and Picard. Well, actually, they did too good of a job distracting Riker. Minuet is incredibly insistent that they both stay, and Picard blindly nails it when he says, "This is your distraction." Minuet then becomes desperate in her attempts to keep them both occupied, and it finally becomes obvious. They immediately call for the exit and see an empty deck, flashing the evac klaxons. They also cannot reach anyone. The computer recaps the events for them, and we realize the Binars shielded comms from them and readings of them in the holodeck. That the ship is heading to Binus. Y'all got jacked by bald troll dolls. Also, odd point, but when they realize what's going on, Minuet starts talking like a robot for no reason. Data is the only one with a brain and says to send a Fed ship to intercept them at Binus. While back aboard, Riker and Picard gear up before heading to engineering to ensure containment and initiate auto-destruct, which I genuinely think is brilliant for once. This is definitely a Captain Sedgwick move. Use the self-destruct to bluff the Binars into relinquishing control of the— oh my god, he's not bluffing. He'll blow the ship if he has to. I mean, kudos, but that is definitely not a Captain Sedgwick move. With another 5-minute ticking clock started, they head to the bridge, but it's blocked off, so they beam onto the bridge instead. There, they find the 4 Binars unconscious on the floor. They look like they're weak and dying, and they're asking for help. Picard cancels auto-destruct, and now, in orbit of Binus, scans the planet. The main computer is off, and they assume the planet's inhabitants are likely in a near-death state similar to the ones on the bridge. They rush back to Minuet, who tells them a star in the Binar system went supernova. Okay, already hold up. For that to even make sense, there has to be more than one star in the solar system, which is fair. Most stars are binary stars, and thematically, it holds. But one star is always much bigger, and that's the one to go boom boom, leaving a much smaller star, if anything. So, 1, Binus would have most likely been blown away in the supernova, or 2, it dies a slow, freezing death after going from giant star with sidekick to just the sidekick. They have much bigger problems than a fucking computer. Regardless, the EMP from the supernova was going to knock out the computer, and instead of building a Faraday cage, they transferred the data and shut the system down before the EMP, and now are trying to use the Enterprise to get the data back and reactivate their computer, their world. Picard hits his comm badge and actually reaches Starbase 74. How long do those reach? And why couldn't they reach him a few scenes earlier when trying the same thing? And why does the Starbase commander seem like he's passively obstructing the crew? Picard and Riker then upload the data to the planet computer, and the Binars instantly are completely fine again. Ridiculous. Even more ridiculous is when they say that they made Minuet to distract Riker in case they fell before uploading. Even though she was still trying her best to keep them from leaving, they blocked the bridge, and they blocked the file access. Poorly, but still. Picard also doesn't press charges, because this episode is dumb as fuck. Picard heads back to the starbase. We recycle more footage, the biggest theme of this episode, and everyone comes back aboard. Riker goes back to the holobar, but the girl is no longer Minuet. He's crushed. If only a real woman was there to focus this time and affection on. No, seriously, where is Troy? Riker literally goes straight to the captain to cry about this, by the way. Roll credits. There's an interesting idea here that's really stretched out and padded to the point of burial with a whole lot of nothing. The most boring episode so far. Real time. 11001001, originally airing on February 1st, 1988, is notable for its eerily accurate exploration of artificial intelligence, the introduction of the Binars, and significant development for the character of Commander William Riker. The episode was written by Maurice Hurley and Robert Lewin. The concept of the binars, who communicate in binary code, was inspired by the burgeoning computer culture of the 1980s and the rapid advancement of technology. This narrative allowed the writers to delve into themes of artificial intelligence and human-machine interaction, reflecting contemporary societal shifts. Carolyn McCormick guest starred as Minuet, the seductive and highly advanced holographic character who plays a central role in the episode. Her performance was critical in portraying the depth of the holodeck's capabilities and Riker's emotional engagement with a synthetic being. Picard noted her being an algorithm of aggregated data. The binars were portrayed by Jean Dynarski, Alexandra Johnson, Kellyanne McNally, and Katie Boyer. The visual representation of the binars required innovative makeup and costume design to convey their alien nature and technological integration. The makeup department, led by Michael Westmore, utilized prosthetics and makeup techniques to create the binars' distinctive look, characterized by symmetrical facial features, neck tufts, and a purplish hue. The episode featured advanced special effects for its time, especially in depicting the starbase and the various interfaces of the binars. Paul Lynch, who directed the episode, focused on the dynamic between Picard and Riker, as well as the interaction with the binars, to highlight the episode's central themes of trust and cooperation. 11001001 received mixed reviews from both fans and critics, with Frakes claiming it as his favorite of the first season. But I found it terrible. They literally dumped 90% of the story in the last 10 minutes. The character of Minuet would later be referenced in subsequent episodes, reinforcing the impact of her introduction. Michael Dorn voiced a computer for a line in this episode. Jonathan Frakes really played the trombone, but they dubbed over him poorly with a session musician, and the dub doesn't visually match. I digress. 11001001 stands as an episode in the Next Generation's first season, combining storytelling with exploration of contemporary technological themes. Its success is a testament to the collaborative efforts of the crew and the enduring love of the fans alike.
I should be getting a massage right now. Look at that. He's finally stopped jumping.
Sir, he is definitely still jumping.
You daft ensign. He's clearly stationary right in front of us, having realized the futility of the situation, no doubt.
Sir, with all due respect, are you all right? Check your sensor readouts. He's very much still warp jumping.
Ensign, report to sickbay and have doctor run you through scans. You obviously...
And he's gone. He just warped away.
There's literally a shuttle right in front of us.
There is literally a metal beach ball in front of us.
Shit.